Hey everybody, welcome to the Illumination, especially those who have been participating in my Last 60, Best 60, where since the beginning of November, we've been taking some time to pause and purposely make our last 60 days of this year and this decade our best 60 days. My intention and purpose in everything I do is to support people to live their best lives, to elevate community, and to ignite joy. This is the second year I've been offering the free video series, Last 60, Best 60, and it's been a very fun challenge to provide weekly. Last year I did daily videos to really support reviewing where we've been, setting intentions and direction for our most fantastic year. And we do this over the course of 60 years so that we don't end up with being bogged down by the holiday rush. We end up finishing strong. We don't take on the guilt train of not accomplishing and the pressure of other people's goals. And we really get to connect to our authentic selves and our dreams and our purpose and our mission. This year we have about 70 people participating. Today's guest is a very special friend and mentor of mine. She's a serial entrepreneur and created a $1 million chocolate company. She's also a partner in Lollyware, which is a company that landed a shark on Shark Tank. She is a powerful stand for women entrepreneurs, and her company, One More Woman, of which I've been a member in the last year, gathers women business owners from around the world, educates them on growing and scaling their business. She believes that it's women who will save the planet, and so she prioritizes and focuses her work to attain her dream of reaching 1 million women with her message. My work with her has been some of the most transformative work I've done. And many of you know, I do a lot of work of learning and growing and personal development. So it's been some of the most transforming work I've ever done in my life with any psychologist, mentor, or coach. She's able to guide me and countless others to realize limited and outdated mindset and to lovingly but fearlessly grow beyond our known limits and to powerfully strategize and move beyond. She is a money therapist, a mentor, and a coach, and it's my honor to introduce the legendary, the one and only Jennifer Love.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for joining me today. It's December 9th, and we're recording this for our 7th week of the Last 60, Best 60.
I love that you have so much heart for your community, Lourdes, that you want to give and contribute to them in this kind of way. It's really quite remarkable.
Thanks. Thank you. It's been really fun and a great way to, again, for me, I do this for myself over the years of ending strong and reviewing at the end of the year. And so it's been a great practice to share with other people. So today I wanted to just share with people your work as a money therapist and why you think it's important.
Yeah, well, gosh, I think money therapy is one of the single greatest things that we can do for ourselves. Our relationship with money is so much more than just about the tangible, physical element of money itself, right? It's the relationship that we have with it, what we make it mean, and how we use it, how we spend it, how we communicate, how we express in the world, and even how we feel about it, and therefore about ourselves. Which really, to me, at the end of the day, money is just a physical outward expression of how we really feel about ourselves, our own worthiness.
Say that again, because I think like as we start this conversation and we think of money, you know, is it the money in our checking account? Is it the money in our wallet? Is it the money that we exchange to buy our, groceries? Like just say that again, because I think that's really powerful.
Yeah, so I look at money as the physical outward expression of how we actually feel about ourselves.
Wow.
Our own worthiness. Right? And so how much money we have, receive, is directly correlated in all of the research that I've been doing over the last 20 years. Every single time, every single conversation about money, the capacity for someone to receive or hold on to money comes back to their relationship with themselves, their own worthiness, every single time.
Wow.
And so I think there's something there
Totally.
that we're
Yeah.
not really, that as a society, we're just not really talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And how we give money so much power, and it's like we're giving our own power, the key to our own power, to something outside of us, when really the key to our power is within us. And so, yeah, that's
Yeah.
some of the philosophy of how I see and relate to
Yeah.
money.
And I think that's not always the way that we even realize or relate to money. Like I think that one way to relate is like I have to do something to get money,
Mhm.
and so that puts it on this, very different relationship than what you're saying. It comes from within.
That's
And
right.
then I remember one of the most powerful exercises that I've done, and we've done it a few times in our work with our big group as well as our one-on-one work, is messages that we got from our parents and our family and our culture.
That's right. Well, and that's where it all starts, right? Those imprints start
Great.
back in childhood. And it's true for all of us, whether, you're struggling and don't have much money in the bank, financially speaking, or you're a billionaire and you've got tons of money in the bank. So the relationship with money is starting back in childhood and with those imprints and what we're making it mean. So I often find that those who have great amounts of money in their bank accounts are some of the poorest people on the planet. Now, I'm generalizing here, but what do I mean by that? The
Yeah.
poorest people on the planet, right? Because well, how are we actually defining wealth?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, wealth is an inside out job. So wealth has I use an abundance wheel to help actually look at deep satisfaction within a person's life in 8 key areas. And physical health is one of those key areas. So, financials, money in the bank, finances is one of those things on that wheel. But if we talk about health, if we talk about family, if we talk about contribution, if we talk about all these different key factors, when you add that up to those who have, not all, but many, who have a lot of money in the bank, if you look at their deep satisfaction on this abundance wheel, it's not so great.
Mm-hmm.
Their inside out wealth job is not looking so strong, right? Now, is it to say that wealth creates dissatisfaction? No, we don't want to create that story. So many people have that story going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just about, again, how we're making it mean based on the stories and the imprints that we've had from childhood. And that's the important part to explore. What are those meanings that we've created? How are we even spending our money? Are we mindfully spending our money? And we're exploring that topic today. We're giving your community here some tools around how to be mindful with how they're spending money. And one of the interesting things, Lourdes, that I think is not being talked about when we talk about money and we talk about being wealthy is how health and wealth are directly correlated.
Oh,
So
yeah.
how healthcare, like your healthcare, and I don't mean the traditional societal definition of healthcare, but I mean being healthy, being vibrant, right? Which is, I know Illumin is all about that. That's it's all about being vibrant and healthy and in that kind of way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's your whole purpose, really.
Mm-hmm.
But how that's directly related and correlated to financial health. There's absolutely no denying that there's a correlation. And a 2015 survey conducted by one of the largest banks in the United States revealed that 81% of their respondents found that their goals were much easier to achieve and having finances in order if they were healthy.
Oh,
Isn't that interesting?
yeah, very.
I know. And so we're also seeing how um, those who are eating well versus those who are not eating well, who are maybe eating junk food. There's actually been studies on people who are eating junk food and their relationship with finances. Um, but those who are eating a lot of junk food and not eating well, not only are they suffering with depression or overweight or having other physical symptoms, but they're
Mm.
also in more debt, tend to financially struggle. And so we're seeing this interesting direct correlation between health and wealth. Isn't
Wow.
that isn't that interesting?
Yeah, very. And
Yes.
so just to realize that, so I also refer to the wheel of life, and
Mhm.
everything is not just correlated, but when you make or amplify or are struggling in one area, it affects the other areas. So that's what you're
Right.
saying.
That's
Very
exactly right.
proven that money is affected. A couple weeks ago, I did love language and how that can affect so many areas, just how we speak and communicate through our actions and our gift giving, and just improving our love language and our communication can improve so many areas of our life. So this awareness of money and better relationship or even communication around money can affect many areas, not just
That's
our
right.
and our finances.
Yeah, I mean, the research is showing that long-term stress, including like anxiety about money,
Hmm.
can trigger a bump in uh, stress hormones, and which leads them to indulgent overeating, eating like fattier, more sugary type foods, which obviously turns into long-term obesity problems, which we're seeing a lot of in the United States. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also directly related to overspending on credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
so there so I think the point here is, yeah, like we often want to focus on eating healthy and being healthy, but guess what? Not only for your physical health, but eating healthy and being healthy also has a direct correlation to your financial health and vice versa.
Right.
Having your financial um, being financially fit and having an understanding of being mindful and spending what you're spending your money on, and are you being mindful? Are you even clear about what you're spending money on? Or are you even going through your finances and looking at, well, gosh, I have all these charges that are coming out of my account on a monthly basis. Do I really need these, or do I have duplicates? I mean, I've gone through this exercise, kind of this like recurring membership exercise within our own community, and we've had some members who've saved ultimately ended up saving thousands of dollars just by going through and reviewing and going through this activity and exercise that we're going to give your community here.
Mm.
Um, so that kind of financial fitness is also supporting your your literal physical fitness as well, your health. So we want to not just look at one or the other. We want to look at how they're related. And I think what's important to understand is like, what are the very different ways that we are spending our money? How are we going about spending every dollar? And
Mhm.
why are we spending that dollar? And what I mean by that is, what is it that we're wanting that money to do for us? What's the juice that we're getting out of it?
That's a great
Right?
question. Yeah.
Right. And so if we're not clear on what's the juice that we're getting out of that dollar that we're spending, we're not being mindful, and we tend to overspend.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is this making sense and landing for you?
Yeah. Well,
Good.
and also not being mindful means that I may not even know where the money is going such that it's not there for me to spend in the
That's right.
future.
That's right. That's what I call driving blind,
Mm. Mhm.
financially blind. It's like you have no idea, if you're just spending, you're not really paying attention to your finances. You're not being mindful in your spending, versus what's coming in, what you're receiving versus what's going out, right? Um, it's like driving a car with a blindfold on. What happens?
Yeah.
You're going to crash.
Why would we do that?
Why would you do that? You wouldn't do that.
Mm.
Yes, you wouldn't, because you're going to crash and it's going to be very costly, or it's going to cost your life.
Yeah. And what would you say to the person who might be like an avoider? Like, oh, I don't want to see that because, I might not like what I see.
Yeah. Well, it can be incredibly sobering. Um, it's my research is showing that more than 50% of the folks that I'm working with are avoiders, money avoiders, right? There's 4 different types of money scripts. Um, and money avoiders is the most common that I'm seeing. And that shows up in a lot of different ways. It's like, oh, I don't want to look at my finances. I don't really want to understand it. Great. You can live that way, but then you can't on the other side of that also say, I want to be financially fit and have a life that is fulfilling and where I'm thriving and my income is increasing.
Mm-hmm. And what
It,
I've seen you do with so many people, not just people who are avoiding, but people who might have some stuckness around money issues, is kind of like, I don't even know how you do it, but you really like support people, like no matter what you find, you know?
oh, for sure. Well, because I mean, again, going back to what you said earlier, it really all stems from the early imprints that we have.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can just go back and understand, this is like the why behind, why is the avoiding happening? What is really going on behind that? And if you can sit down and make friends with those, the avoider in you,
Mm-hmm.
and get really curious, like do some serious inquiry, right? Because an unexamined life really just isn't worth living. Is it really living? Um, get curious with the avoider in you about why it's there, right? And this is part of the work as a money therapist that I'm really doing, right? It's like exploring. I'm taking the magnifying glass and into and inside the psychology and emotionality of those that I'm working with, including you. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
let's take a peek. What's behind that for you? What's going on for you? What happened? What were the stories that got created, the belief systems that were developed, the traumas that maybe occurred that actually created this avoider mentality inside?
Mm-hmm.
Where then you say you want to make more money, you say that you want to be financially fit, and yet your behavior is taking you in a direction that's entirely different than that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the deep work. That's the important work to be doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the how, we can give you the tools here, like, oh, here's a spreadsheet and like comb through, and that's what we're doing, to look at how to be mindfully, a mindful spender, and how to look at the recurring, memberships that maybe you don't need anymore, and how can you save some money. Those tools are great,
Mm-hmm.
but unless you actually get into really under the engine or under the hood really of, the engine, the car, and look at what's happening inside, you're never really gonna, it's like having a hammer and pliers that you don't know what to do with.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right? Of that
And you
car
could
that you're gonna then get in and drive blind in.
have, right. Yeah. 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 I think that's a good way to put it. Like you have the tools, but you also kind of go through some training on how to befriend the tool and use it and not be afraid of what we find. Because I think that was my biggest fear of just kind of being afraid of what I'd find and the discomfort of finding that. But what I do will, and I've shared with a lot of friends and, for the community who hasn't heard this, that what I think also is one of the ways that you work with people is you kind of open up like, oh, okay, so this is what we found, but you also really supportively and firmly but caringly help people to the next level. It's not
Mhm.
like, okay, good luck. Isn't that too bad?
Oh, that
Like,
would be irresponsible. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I will say that, one of the reasons why I feel so passionate about including financial education and this kind of work in Illumin is that there are tools out there and there are financial advisors out there, but they're just trying to, like, there's sort of like this end game or end story that we all think we need to get to, but there's the work that helps us even be ready to save money, that even have money to save, like there's
That's the key, Lourdes. It's like when we were talking about the keys earlier, we think of money as being this powerful thing outside of us that we're trying to get and access. And
Mhm.
really, the power is within us, the key we have. Stop
Yeah,
giving it away. And when you
yeah,
unlock yourself
yeah,
and go into the depths of what's really those self imposed limitations and glass ceilings that we're putting on ourselves, when we know how to break through those, well, we become limitless. well
mhm,
then well then you really do need the financial advisor,
yeah,
because the money starts to roll in with more ease.
mhm,
It just
yeah,
starts to come in because you're not blocking it anymore. And the
right,
thing is, you can't see how you're blocking it. Most people can't see how they're blocking money. It's like a blind spot. We can't see the blind spot while we're driving the car. That's why it's called a blind spot,
mhm,
right? So we need someone to help us explore those blind spots and all the ways in which these patterns have manifested inside of us and are lodged deep down inside of us, so that
mhm.
we can unlock and become aware. And yeah, I know it's not fun looking at those nasty little, patterns and buggers and all those like I don't want to see that. And yet, if you don't, like, you're going to continue to live the life that you live.
Yeah, yeah,
And if you're not, if you're self-reporting that, that's not what you want, then it's time to do something a little different.
yeah.
It's time to go on an exploration of yourself.
Great. So what do you suggest for this week? So we've been doing a little pause, and I give people an
Yeah.
exercise every week, and
Yeah.
I think people have been um, downloading the worksheet, so we'll provide it through the G Drive.
Yeah.
And yeah, what do you have? What exercise do you have for us?
Well, we've got two. It's all in the same file. And so there's one. The first one is the mindful spending exercise. And really, my encouragement is to spend 7 days, one whole week, combing through all the various ways in which you're spending money, Monday through Friday. And it's like a log for, spending money. Now, if you're a business owner, there's a section for tracking it for your business, as well as tracking it for yourself personally. Um, and just take note. Take note of what you're spending the money on and what's coming up for you as you're spending that money. Like, just again, being aware of that spend, and then noticing. And there's a little section in the spreadsheet where you can start to like see some patterns or trends or awarenesses that you're having around how you're spending your money. On
And
this,
I'm
uh,
sorry, how was it that you described what, like, the feeling, like, what do I want this money to do for me or something like that?
yes,
Because
the juice that you're getting out of every dollar, right?
that's the juice. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the juice that you're getting out of the dollar, right? And so that's such a great point, Lord, is because is the juice sometimes the juice like, well, let me ask you this. For a shopaholic, what juice are they getting out of buying that Gucci purse? in spending those dollars? What's the juice?
The thrill of the spend, the look, something new.
That's right. So there's often, oh, I know I can't afford this thing. I'm buying it anyways. It's giving them a dopamine hit, which is a
Mm,
neurochemical in the brain, which is where pleasure is housed. And so it's releasing this pleasurable experience physically through our body, even though at the end of the month we know we can't pay the credit card bill. Right. So it's giving this juice of like feeling good physically and on like kind of this um, neurological level. But then what's behind that? Oh, I want to look good. I want to look like I've got it all together. Or it just makes me feel good to go comfort myself and purchase this. But usually there's something juicy in that. And so that's where we get to trace it back to this worthiness piece.
okay.
What are you without the Gucci purse?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So squeeze the juice out of those dollars, figure out, as you're looking at tracking the dollars that you're spending in your business and in your personal finances, and what's the juice that you're squeezing out of that. It's not
Okay.
all, some of it's going to be good juice, and some of it's going to be a little spoiled and a little bit rotten. And that's all
Mhm.
right. We just want to get clear. Like, we're not going to judge any of this, right?
Yeah.
We want to leave the shame, blame, and guilt, kind of like outside the door as we're doing this exercise.
And that's so true. And that's one of the reasons why I'm giving us 60 days. Like we've been doing some pause and review. Some of it hasn't been easy. What are some
Yeah.
things we didn't get done? But, in 60 days, we can make some effort to get closer to where we want to be when we end the year and not make, goals and resolutions out of what we don't have and what we
Yeah.
feel is lack, but really like, wow, I learned more about money. That's going to be something that I tap into every month now. Or you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
that's the value of like a longer term instead of just like a 4-hour workshop the last week of the year, which people are just squeezing into their schedules. Like the videos are available always, and I'm glad that you're gonna offer like a worksheet. But yeah, this is really like I'm up to like long-term change and
Yes. Yes.
not under the gun
Yes.
kind of change.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Which is
mhm,
powerful. That's a
mhm.
powerful purpose here with this, which is really beautiful, Loris.
Mhm.
On the second worksheet, which is on the same in the same document, on the second tab, is where they can go through and look at the recurring membership fees. So things like Netflix or MailChimp, if you're a business owner and you've got an email list that you're managing, technologies, food service companies, the gym membership, right? All of that. Take a look at what you've got coming out. Make sure that you don't have anything double coming out, and make sure, like, if it's automatically coming out, are you using this?
Mhm.
And if you're not, maybe it's time to nixay it. Maybe it's time for it to go.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the first week I actually did give people an opportunity to review a lot of things, including recurring spending.
Yeah.
Not as detailed. And I just said, go back through PayPal and bank statements and just sort of take log of that. But this adds a little bit more in terms of like the juice. Like, is it
Yeah.
giving the kind of I don't know if it's satisfaction or feeling truly like the needs that we want it to.
That's
Mhm. Yeah. So what do we do when we get some insights on this?
right.
What do you
Well,
think, people?
yeah, well, awareness alone can help transform. But I'd love to offer anyone in your community here who is interested in just like having a conversation about that, like to
Mm.
do a money story discovery session with me. Um, because it's you, I'll offer it to them, with no cost.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah, so they can just use the link that I provided here, themoneystory.jenniferlove.com.
Okay.
Um,
Wow. I know what it's like to work with you and us. And I would do it again. I would totally do it again because it's so powerful.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's the next step, you know, if someone wants to do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. I was going to say, in fact, for people who know me and the work that I've shared with you, Jason and I are doing the money work in the next year with Jennifer because I
Yeah,
think.
powerful as a couple.
Mhm.
Powerful as a couple.
Yeah. And one more question, Jennifer, in terms of like, who is this for? Like, would you say
Mm,
it's for, just business owners, or just like, there's a lot of people at different stages, and
that's right.
like, what are some things to think about if people are like, oh, I don't think it's for me?
Yeah, well,
Or
uh,
is
yeah, right. Is it for me? Well, come have a conversation and
okay.
let's figure it out. In the discovery story session, you know, we'll kind of ask you a couple questions that will help you kind of unearth that for yourself as well. But really, this is for leaders,
Okay.
you know, for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for anyone who is in a position where they really want to be the best version of themselves for others.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and they really want to grow and they want to leave a legacy behind, that they don't want to be controlled by those early imprints that are putting those self-imposed limitations on to them. Uh, it's for someone who really wants a new and really healthy relationship with money.
Mm. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you, because you've really deepened my relationship with money, and I am much more uh I guess ready to jump in to what's next because of that. And
Mhm.
I just turned 50, and I there's nothing holding me back. Like, I'm living my best life.
It's been so it's been so incredible watching you over the last couple of years um, open up and blossom,
Mm,
and what that has in store for you
mm,
and for this community here that you clearly love and cherish and adore.
mm.
Um,
Thanks.
I'm excited to have that front row seat with you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Well, thanks for your time with our community. And I'll share the links and share the worksheets. And anyone who is curious and is just a step away from making the call to have an appointment with Jennifer, feel free to email me. But without a doubt, take her up on this offer, because it is priceless work to really change your life. Like, and not just like a little needle move, it's a lot of impact.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah. So thanks, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Great end of your year. Sounds like you're doing some great things.
Thanks. Yeah, you as well. Happy holidays to all of you.